So, what's going on, guys? It's Brian Pickwoods here at BP Fitness, and I have a really important Monday rant for you guys on this beautiful spring day. Now, this is something I've wanted to address for a while. It's a subject I don't think that a lot of people feel comfortable talking about, and it's something that's really personal to me. And for a while, I've wanted to talk about this, but I've always wondered, does it make me feel too vulnerable? Does it put me in a bad spot? If I'm supposed to be a leader for so many people as clients and as their coach, how does it make me look if I am able to talk about this because it's something I've experienced and something so personal? And there's this fear about how to address the situation. But I've learned one thing over the last few months is that for me to put myself out there more and more, it's only going to help you out more. So I want to add value to your day, and to not say this message and not talk about my own situation and what I've experienced, I think does a massive disservice to you. And so what I want to talk about is anxiety. Now, for me, I started to develop anxiety probably about 3 years ago when I was in college. I had never really, realized that I had it. And it was a situation where after I quit football because I had to work full time to put my way through school, I felt like I was on the outside looking in. I felt like I was in a situation where I had to perform, and I didn't have the same relationships that everyone else had. So when I would go out on college parties, it produced a massive amount of feeling that I wasn't enough, or that uncertainty of, will I be able to talk to people or make them uncomfortable? And by just having those thoughts, I was existing in a place where I was producing those same results for myself without even having to go out and try. And so what I learned is that, through the development of what was happening to me, is I was projecting my own fears outward. I was feeling that I was anxious because I was dealing with all these different struggles that made me feel like I had to perform. And so when I got back to campus after I started the business, it was even worse because I knew that I had to almost be the person who was showing off. I felt like I had to perform for people. And so when I would go out, this is a true story, every single time I would go out to a party or to talk to people, I would have to stand there and psych myself up. I'd have to say, you can do this. I'd have to talk myself up. And I think if you've ever dealt with social anxiety, you'll understand where I'm coming from, because there's that feeling that you're not enough, and there's that feeling that you're going to be the person who says something stupid. And I think that the problem is that when you're thinking that way, you're not present. You're counting yourself out. And so one thing I've learned is that if you're in a situation where you feel uncomfortable, and that's because you're uncertain of what's going to happen, you're not being present in who you are. You're afraid that you have to perform. You're afraid that you're not going to be able to be the person who people connect with. And I understand that. I completely understand that. But what I've learned too, as someone who's dealt with it and pushed through it and learned how to conquer it, that whenever I have that feeling of uncertainty, whenever I have that feeling that's anxious and it's making me, break out into like a sweat, and I start to feel this tension inside me, that I'm not being present, that I'm not thinking about the things that I do have, and I'm not thinking about all the good things that are in my life that make it so I have something of value to add. Because the truth is when we're thinking about the problems that could happen, we're usually saying ourselves a storyline that reads something like, I'm not enough, I'm not going to be enough, and something's going to go wrong. But the only way that that's going to happen is if you tell yourself it's going to happen. The truth is the people who you're talking to, people who you're dealing with in these situations, are going through the same things that you do. We all want to be, accepted for who we are. We all want to, remove rejection. And we all want to be in a situation where people like us. But the truth is, guys, is that because we're all connected that way, your message that you reach when you go and talk to people, and when you go and put yourself in that situation, is much more powerful, and you do have a control over those circumstances. So whether you get anxiety over social situations, whether you get anxiety because of money, whether you get anxiety about dealing with the things that you have to deal with in your life, I want you to stop. I want you to stop and think about why they exist. So a lot of it comes from personal experiences in our life. A lot of anxiety and different circumstances like that, different habits come from within. It's something we've learned to cope with. And so what I want you to think of is, if you're dealing with anxiety, the biggest thing that has helped me is really digging deep down and figuring out where it exists, why it exists, what happened that caused me to be that way. And if you can dig that deep down, even though it might be tough, even though it might take a lot out of you mentally, it's going to produce the results that you want in order to conquer this fear. For me, like I said, it came because I was so used to trying to perform. I was so used to trying to be in a situation where people liked me. And what I realized is that I'm someone who, no matter as long as I'm myself, people are going to be attracted to that, at least the right people. And so for you, it might be a different thing. Maybe it's how your parents raised you. Maybe it was a situation they had when you were a kid. For me, I think a lot of my fears come from, like I said, I don't talk about this as like a, oh, woe is me, but I was bullied a lot as a kid. And when I say bullied a lot, I had like one friend and I got the shit kicked out of me every single day. And that developed a situation where I always wanted the approval of others. And so that's been something that I've had to work through. And so each time you're looking at some of those different circumstances, if you can figure out why they exist, you're going to be able to remove them. It might take meditation. That's something I do every single morning. It might take you talking to someone. Find a good friend who you can talk with. Talk to someone about the different situations that are leading you down this path. I know I have some really great friends who, whenever I'm having a mental block, I can always talk to. But you do have to address them. And I think that the more you understand that everyone deals with it, and the more you understand that it's not just, something that makes you weak. It's not something that makes it so, you don't have power. I think that fear of rejection, once you remove that, you can really address it and you can really understand that this is something that you can conquer, because I truly believe that if you can, that you're going to be able to show other people that it's possible too. So, this is Brian Pickowitz here at BP Fitness. I want to know how this message helped you. If it helped you out, leave me a comment below. Let me know that you guys are here. Give me a thumbs up. And above all else, let's keep building this channel and let's keep spreading something positive so each one of us has a massive impact on the world. All right? Let's crush this week. Let's crush our goals and let's crush it one rep at a time.